In the previous video, we created our first Hello World Android application, and I showed you how to change the field name that was showing on the screen. So it's now time to actually show you how to run this application. So what we want to do is we want to use the emulator, and of course, if you recall, we set that up in a previous video, and the emulator is a way of running an Android application on your computer, which is very handy if you haven't got an Android device, physical device to plug in to use on your computer. And it's also handy just in terms of time, sometimes to be checking it to see what it looks like on the screen. So to start, first we need to start our emulator. So I'm going to go to the Tools menu. I'm going to click on Android. I'm going to select AVD Manager, Android Virtual Device. And I've set up a Nexus 5, as you can see there. That's what I'm going to be using for that. So I'm going to come over to here and click on Start. And that should start it up for us automatically. Okay, so you can see the Android device starting now, and you may get this message. Thanks for using the Android SDK. It may look slightly different depending when you're watching this. I normally click this off. I don't really want to send my usage statistics to Google. It's certainly up to you. Your private data isn't shared. It's just more an aggregation service, but it's up to you whether you want it. I'm going to select off to not send usage statistics to Google. But if you want to later, you can come back to File, Preferences, Usage Stats and change it. Click on Proceed, and as you can see, what was happening in the background was the Android application was updating itself, or rather starting in the background. So we've now got an Android device running in the background. So this is a proper emulator. This is actually what an Android device looks like. So I'm going to click on Got It because it's the first time we've started. We're getting a couple of messages about the fact that it's initializing it for the first time. So now that we've got that started, we can actually run our application. So to do that, we need to go back to Android Studio. So the easiest way to run is to come up here, click on Run from the Run menu, and click on Run App. You can see the little progress bar on the right hand or right of the screen there. And now it's asking us, where do we want to run this on? So we've got a couple of options. If we hadn't started the emulator, we could have selected that option and it would have started it for us automatically. But because it's already running, it's automatically selected that. And that, of course, is that emulator that I showed you just a little short while ago. And the other thing is, if you've got a physical device, that will also show up here. And in the next video, when I'm running it on a physical device, you'll be able to see that in operation. So for now, I'm going to click on Emulator, or it's already selected. I'm not going to change it, and click on OK. And the commands down the bottom of the screen are the commands that are actually used to initialize it. So what that's telling me now is that that's actually running on the actual Android emulator. So if I actually tab over to there now, we can see that we've actually got our application running. I was here showing Hello World, very basic application, but it is working. And we can go back and close it down, as you can see there. And as you would normally do with any Android device, we could click on that. And there's our Hello World. It's been installed with the default icon. And we can change that. And in a later video, we'll show you how to do that. And again, we could just start that up again if we wanted to. And that's our Hello World application. And we can go back up to our Android Studio again. Now, all this code here, you might be wondering, what does all this mean? Well, this is all debugging code relating to the code that's actually running on the computer. And we'll be seeing that in practice, in use more in future videos, and be understanding what some of that means. Some of those error messages don't relate to this program, and they're actually not all errors for that matter. Some of them are, but some of them aren't, but that'll make a lot more sense as we go through in the course anyway. So the other thing we can do is we come up here again and click on View, go to Tools window. We can actually click on Run, and we can actually rerun it from there again. So we can actually start it, stop it, and do whatever we like there. So we can click on that and run it again, select it again, and run it, like so. But of course, the other thing we could do is we could go back here. Let's go back to our layout. So I'm clicking on Activity underscore main.xml. I could come back into here, and I could actually change that. Hello World. I've changed the text to Hello World just to show that it's working. At the moment, we haven't rerun it, so we should still be seeing the old text, I was here. But if you go back now and rerun that again, start it up and run it again, click on OK, wait for the commands to be sent through. Let me tab over to there, Hello World. So there you go. That's how you go about testing, and you'll be seeing that in operation a lot more as you go through the course, because it's one of the core things that I recommend you do is to be testing your applications as much as possible and seeing what they look like on the screen. So the emulator does a pretty good job of showing what your application will look like, but I would certainly recommend before you uploaded a final version of an application to the App Store that you did run it on an actual Android physical device. But for testing purposes, this is great. It's a great way to just to, as I said, get the gist of what your application is going to look like before it actually goes into production and before you actually test it on a physical device. So that's testing on the emulator. I'm going to end this video here now. In the next video, we're going to fire up one of my Android devices and we're going to run it on the physical machine just to show you what it looks like on that. So I'll see you in that next video.